Dear Diary, mood ecstatic. This is my first day of film school, and this is my film school diary.
Film school diary, my 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 film school diary.
Hi, my name is J-Rex, and I am a filmmaker. This is a deep dive into my journey through film school and my film school diary. The names in this story have been changed to keep people safe and also keep me from getting sued. So, some of these names have been fabricated, but the stories also might have been a little fabricated. It was 10 years ago. I realized I've been out of film school for 10 years now. And that's crazy to me. It feels like just yesterday. The way my film school also worked is that our program started literally 2 years before we finished. So I literally started film school 12 years ago, and I've been out of school for 10 years now. So I really wanted to go through my time in film school and explain what happened and have a conversation about it. So that way you can maybe relate to your own film school journey. So let's get into my film school diary. It's September 12th, 2012. It's my very first day of film school. Orientation, some may say. A little backstory about me personally. I was homeschooled. I didn't go to a conventional public school or school setting. I did everything at home. I did it all online. So this was the first time I had been in a physical school since second grade. So I was very excited, but also somewhat nervous. I grew up in a small town. I was not from LA. I was not from a big city. I was in what some may say is a flyover state. This wasn't just my first time going back to a school setting, but also my first time in a big city. And not just any big city, LA, Hollywood, Los Angeles, the city of angels. I knew I wanted to go to film school ever since I was a little kid. I'd wanted to be a filmmaker since I was the age of 4. I saw the movie Sleeping Beauty, and at the end of the VHS, they had a behind the scenes of how they made the movie, and I was fascinated. From that moment on, I needed to be a filmmaker. I was obsessed. Before that, I think I wanted to be a shepherd, but then I found out it didn't pay very well. So from the age of 4 on, I told people I was going to be a movie producer. I didn't say actor. I didn't say movie star. I said movie producer. I knew I wanted to be a producer. That evolved into, no, I was actually looking to be a director. I do producing now, but I truthfully was made to be a director. It's always been part of my story is that I should be a director. So when I was probably in 8th grade or so, I started seeing ads for a film school. I didn't do much research. I saw this one film school and decided that's where I was going. This was going to be the school for me. So I graduated high school and I put all my information in and I got into the film school of my dreams. And this is the story about my first day at that film school. Day 1, orientation. An 18-year-old me is walking in to my dreams. That first day, I decided I wanted to go in there and make friends that I would keep for the rest of my life. I wanted to have those college friends that my children one day would call auntie and uncles. I wanted to have those friendships that you said, oh, I met them in college. I met them in school. They're my oldest friends and my closest allies. I truly wanted a Chandler, like Ross and Chandler. I thought I would make a best friend like that. So I went in there first day deciding to make friends. I was going to make connections. They always say in the industry, it's about who you know. And so I decided that first day I was going to go in there knowing people. I had business cards made up. All I had to my name was a business card and a Justin Bieber notebook. Keep that in mind because that notebook's going to come up a lot. It's actually very relevant to my story. It's not this one. I don't actually have the Justin Bieber notebook anymore because I filled it with so many notes. But it came up a lot and actually made me a friend. So, the first thing on my schedule for my first day of orientation was we were going to go in, and the way my school was set up is it was actually, we were going to be shooting on a backlot. All of our projects would be shot in a specific backlot. I'm not going to say which school it was or the name of the backlots, but it was a big one. And so our first thing in orientation was we were going to get in the vans with our little bus drivers, and they were going to drive us around the backlots and show us where we'd be shooting a lot of our projects. So we had probably about a 15-minute wait while we wait for the bus to pull up, and there was a bunch of people who were all going to be in my class, I thought. So I looked around and I was like, I'm ready to make some friends. These are people I'm going to be working with forever. They're going to be my deepest connections. So I looked around and I see one of the one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in real life. She was stunning. She was so nice, so pretty, and she was honestly very cool. So I don't know who said something first. It might have been me, it might have been her. Either way, we started talking. Hi, I'm new here. I've never been to LA before. I want to make some new friends. I hope somebody be nice to me in these hard times. Hey, you want to be friends?
Sure, why not? She said.
Cool. Let's be friends forever. She was like an ally, which we love. And she told me her real name. We're going to call her Stephanie. Not her real name, but we're going to call her Stephanie. But her last name was a more of an affectionate name, so she preferred to go by that. We're going to say in this story is going to be Stephanie Darling. So she told everybody to call her Darling. So we all said, hey, Darling. And she would be like, yes, it's me. And that was her name. It wasn't a pet name or anything. Her name was Darling. So we called her Darling. So me and Darling decided to go. We were in the same bus. We were all ready. We were super stoked.
So, Darling got in the front seat. Power move. I thought that was so cool.
Meanwhile, these other two girls sat behind me. They're going to be important. Keep them in mind. These two girls. We're going to call them. We'll call one Cece and we'll call one Red. Red is just because her favorite color is red, and Cece's just an initial that we're using to reference this person. Again, they're important. Keep them in mind.
Power move. I thought that was so cool. I sat in the middle row, and behind me were Cece and Red. I was certain they were going to start making fun of me. They didn't. So we started driving through the backlots. I was super nervous and super excited at the same time. A lot of fun emotions were happening.
So we're in the car. We're in the bus, and honestly, our bus driver was cute. He was cute. I'm not gonna lie. And Darling was like, "What's good?" And she's like looking back at me. She's like, "I'm gonna get this boy's number." And I was like, "Slay, Darling, slay." So she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get this guy's number or whatever."
Meanwhile, Darling was flirting with the bus driver. She was like, "Yeah, I'm from California." He's like, "Yeah, me too. I also used to be in one of your favorite shows, but don't ask me about it when you see me in the corridors of the school because I don't want to talk to you about it." And she's like, "Oh, that's so cool. We should hang out sometime." Meanwhile, I'm just trying my best to not throw up because there's no seatbelts.
So we're driving through the back lots. We're cruising. We're seeing different things. This is where you're going to be shooting one of your projects. You're going to do production workshops here. You're going to be doing backlot like work here. You're going to be on these backlots. I assume this means I'm going to be famous. These are places where I'm going to meet like real directors and make real connections. Not didn't really happen like that, but I thought that was going to happen. So we're going through it, and like I say, Darling is laying it on thick with this bus driver, and he's like vibing because I said she's like the prettiest person I've seen in real life. Like she's stunning. So we're driving through, whatever. We're having a great old time. We're getting to know people. Again, the two girls behind me are not very talkative to me. They're like having their little moment, and I'm like, honestly, I'm like, I don't really want to see these girls again. They seem like they're not going to be nice to me. And I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. Again, keep them in mind. They're very important to this story. So I'm doing my little thing. We're going, whatever. We get to go out, walk around the backlots a little bit. We're stepping on real ground that real celebrities have stepped on in the 50s. It was great. You know, I could have been like Judy Garland. I could have been one of those people that I loved. And I was there with them, same places that they were. Wow. 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 Oh, wow. Wow. Either way, that concludes our first part of the day. We get to see the backlots we're going to be working on. Super great, super whatever, super fun. The next thing on our itinerary for the day is there is going to be a special place for people who are new to LA to go learn more about what you need to know for living in LA. So Darling, I guess, was an LA native, and she's like, I don't have to go to that. I will see you later. We'll get lunch or something, so we'll catch up later. So I was like, cool, I've already made a best friend. Me and Darling are going to be besties forever. Again, very sweet girl. So I go to my little LA, new people to LA. I get there. I don't know anybody. The two girls who were sitting behind me are sitting behind me again, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna make fun of me. They're gonna bully me. I'm nervous. And so I'm doing my little thing. They're telling us some crazy stuff. So some of the notes they gave us, like, if you're new to LA, bolt your furniture to your walls because there could be an earthquake and it could fall on top of you, which Kind of happened to me once. I had a little teeny bookshelf above my bed that kept my Dragon Ball Z figures. And if you don't think when we had earthquakes, they fell on top of me while I was sleeping, and I jumped. And like I was like, oh, Goku attacked me while I was sleeping. Not really relevant, but this is something they actually told me in school. They were like, oh, make sure you bolt your furniture, bolt your shelves. You don't want them falling on you. That could hurt you. So I thought that little class, it was real fun. It was real nice. Really a great time for everybody involved. So we then had our little lunch break. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with Darling, whatever. But I realized I didn't get her name and we didn't really set up a place to meet. So I was kind of like nervous. I wasn't going to just maneuver the campus. The campus was like 3 separate buildings across the street from each other. So you kind of had to like go across the street to go to one place, go to lunch here, whatever. So it was like constantly moving around 3 different buildings. So I was sitting in this little room that was kind of emptying out by people who were new to LA. And so I look over and I see this one girl. And honestly, really sweet. We're going to call her Kitty. She reminded me a lot of Tara from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, kind of. I don't know why, but just she had like this very warm, safe vibe. Like I felt like I could like talk to her and feel safe. And so me being me, I walk over and say, "Hey, I'm Jay. You want to be friends?" And she's like, "Sure." So me and Kitty decided to go to lunch together. We both packed our own lunch. We don't have to go to like restaurants or anything because we don't know where anything is around here. So we have our little packed lunches. We're sitting there, we're chilling, we're talking. I'm telling her about how I made friends with this girl, Darling, and how we're like, oh, I think we're gonna be like besties forever, whatever. We were kind of discussing what classes we both are excited for. Like, ooh, we both want to be screenwriters. We also like acting, so we're both very excited about this new like little part of our life that's happening. So, me and Kitty are walking to the main building, and then I see the bus driver, the one that Darling was talking to, the one that we were flirting up. And this is so stupid. This is where it shows I have no shame, nor do I have any embarrassment in my life. So I see the bus driver talking to this girl who looks from the back just like Darling, literally just like Darling, like same exact wavy, beautiful hair. So I went over and said, "Hey, Darling, you want to go to lunch with us?" The guy looks at me and says, "I don't like you call me pet names. I don't know you like that." And I was like, "No, I was talking to her. Her name's Darling." This girl turns around. It's not her. It's some random person. He's flirting with some other girl. And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. That girl's name was Darling." He's like, "Who's Darling? That's like a pet name." And so I'm like, well, this is embarrassing, I guess. If I had any embarrassment in my life, I'd be upset by this. I don't have that embarrassment because realistically, I have no shame. But it was awkward. Either way, this guy from then on out thought I was flirting with him constantly, which I wasn't because I called him somebody else's nickname in his mind, which was a pet name that could have been affectionate. And it was real awkward. So I run back to Kitty and she's like, "Are you okay? That looked embarrassing." And I was like, I thought it was my friend Darling, but it was just some random chick, and now that guy thinks I'm like want to date him. So anyway, me and Kitty run away like school children. We then have to go to a different class. We have to run up to another building. We have to learn about like financial aid and all that stuff. And so we, kind of do our little thing. And so I'm waiting in line. And then I have my little Justin Bieber notebook. And I'm sitting there. I think Kitty went to go grab some food out of the vending machine or something. I don't know. She ran off. And so I see the girl who's sitting behind me, the one who I was like, oh, she's gonna bully me. Oh, she's gonna be mean to me. She looks so cool, and she looks like she's gonna be like one of those girls. And I was so nervous. Again, this is the one, Cece. And so I'm holding my little Justin Bieber notebook, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna make fun of me. Oh. And then she looks over and she goes, "Oh, you like Justin Bieber?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, me too. I love him so much." Blah blah blah. Boom. Spoiler alert: this girl became one of my best friends and only person I still keep in contact with from film school. Spoiler alert. I literally talked to her yesterday. Cece's like, "Okay, well, I'll talk to you later then, I guess." So we go our separate ways. Kitty comes back with her little snack, and then that's when I see Darling again. And Darling's all like, "Hey, how was your day so far?" Blah blah blah. And I tell her, "Oh my gosh, the most awkward thing just happened. The hot bus driver, I saw him, and he was with some girl who looked like you from behind. And I ran over and was like, 'Hey, Darling,' and he thought that your last name was an affectionate nickname for him, and it was super awkward and super weird." And she goes, "That's like so funny." And then Kitty, like, I could tell this is where Kitty was somebody who was gonna like be very supportive and very protective of me. She's like, "No, Darling, that wasn't like funny. That was kind of embarrassing for our friend. Maybe you shouldn't think so lightly of it." Either way, that's when I knew that Kitty was going to be somebody who would actually be very supportive and very protective of me. Anyway, we then go into our next kind of like financial aid class thing. We all learn about money and where it's coming and how things are working and all those things. Anyway, The next thing after that, after the financial aid class, we find out that we are actually being split up into two classes, Group A and Group B. What? I was told that I was with all my classmates. I was making friends with people already. This is when I find out that both Darling and Kitty are in Class A. I'm in Class B. My two friends I had spent so much time making friends with on my first orientation day were not going to be in my class. And sadly, I didn't get to see them that often then. I'd run into them sometimes in the hall, but that was it. So we were led to our separate classes. We split the teams, and I was in a room with people I did not know yet. People I wasn't making bonds with forever. So I sat down real nervous with my little Justin Bieber notebook. And I'm like, oh, I don't know anybody here. And I don't really make good friendships with guys, if I'm being honest. Most of my friends are girls. I'm much more friendly with girls, I guess. I don't know. And there's like so many guys coming in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be friends with any of these people. Oh, I hate it here. I hate it here. I'm so nervous. Ugh. So then I see the people who are gonna actually be in my class, Class B, and I'm kind of sitting there, and it's a bunch of guys I've never even seen. I didn't even see them on the freaking orientation. It's been the same day, and I've never seen these people before. And then, to my relief, Cece walks in. I'm like, okay, we like Justin Bieber. I was a little nervous to meet her at first, but at least I know we have something to vibe with. I was like, hey, Cece, you want to come sit with me? And she's like, fine, I'll come sit with you. I'm exhausted, but I'll come sit with you. I'm like, okay, cool. Then she brings over her friend Red. The reason I call her Red is that's her favorite color. I'm using fake names for these people, but these people I actually might have actually on the videos at some point, so I don't want to give too many descriptions, but this is Red and Cece. So they come and sit with me, and we're having a great time, and we're kind of like vibing, like, how's your orientation? How was everything so far? Real cool, real great, whatever. So we've kind of already decided we're going to like have a little team or a little group, a little fun people. And then we get our first teacher comes in. And this is going to be our directing teacher, who's going to be like our homeroom teacher. He's kind of going to be like our main teacher because we're filmmakers. He's going to be our directing teacher. So he's like the guy we go to with our problems. He's the one that we talk to about our schedules. He's going to be like our main guy. Let's call him Terry. Think Sikowitz from Victorious, but from like a Fincher film. So, no, like a Tarantino film. Think of Sikowitz if Sikowitz was from a Tarantino film. So he gives us a rundown of how our day is going to go. He's like, honestly, I want to get out of this class just as fast as you. It's too hot in here. The air conditioning's not on. Let's get out of here. So he's like, I'm going to run through everything, then we can get out here early. I want you guys to have a good night's rest because we have a busy semester ahead of us. So he tells us that unlike other film schools, most film schools, throughout your whole tenure there, you get to make maybe one thesis film and that's it. He's like, our school's not like that. In the first 2 months, we're going to try to break you. We're going to make 8 films in the first 2 months. 8 films per person here. So I left that school with 8 films my first semester. That's insane. Especially because it was only going to be it was just the first semester. So we're like, okay, cool. And he was like, so what we're going to do is we'll do some in school, like we'll do some on the back lots, we'll do some in school, but then the other ones are going to be at your houses, in your own sets. You're going to be making movies in your free time for this. And he pretty much told us, you will not have time for private jobs. You will not have time to work like a second job or something like that. You are going to be doing this. This is your full-time job now, is you're a full-time filmmaker in school. Okay, cool, great, sign me up. But then he also told us that we will be having to crew up. So make some connections, make some friends here, because for the next semester, you are going to be working with you and 3 other people on each other's films. So make sure you find people you trust and people you can work with for good. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. Again, I'm already nervous. I don't know these people at all. I don't know what they're good at. And so me, Cece, and Red are like, yeah, we'll team up. We'll become our own little crew, whatever. And then he's like, think about it. Tomorrow when we have our first actual class, we will finalize everything, so start getting to know people, whatever. So, okay, cool. We're all kind of exchanging information, trying to figure it out. It's like, honestly, it's like Drag Race when they're like, pick your teams for the main challenge. We're all running around frantic. So as of right now, we only have 2 people. We have it's me and 2 other people. It's me, Cece, and Red. And so that's pretty much the first class. With that being said, I would like to take this time to tell you the descriptions of each person in my class so that you'll know going forward in the story who we're talking about and what to expect from each of these people. So, first off, there's Cece. You remember her. She was one of the girls from the bus, and also the girl who liked my Justin Bieber notebook, who also turned out to be one of my best friends. So, real quickly, rundown about Cece. She very much loves the music industry. She's very much into music, pop culture, and things like that. She's the first person who really taught me about Tumblr and things like that. Also, she got me into like music like Macklemore and a bunch of different things that honestly to this day made me who I am. And I learned a lot about music because of Cece, who we love, we support, and hopefully I can convince her to come on to the show one of these days so you guys can actually get to know her. Next up is Red, who is the other girl from the bus. She's a very sweet girl also, who I do somewhat keep up with, not as much as I'd like to, but we have worked together since school. Red's favorite color is red. That's why we were giving her the name of Red. She very much is a very good filmmaker who really has a lot of convictions and really knows what she likes and what she wants in films and is very good at pursuing those things. Also, she became one of my script supervisors for my first year project. She's very good at details and the kind of person that you really want to have on your side when you are building a project and trying to get detail work done. She's very smart and very intelligent in those things. Then there was Omar. Omar is a really cool guy. He was kind of like, we had very similar kind of like places we're from. We both came from the East Coast. We had very similar kind of backgrounds. We both are very family oriented. He was very kind to my family and very open to inviting me to things. I didn't get to work on as many projects with him as I would like to. We did have very similar aesthetics though. Later on, spoiler alerts, I do get heavily into set decorating, and I was able to set decorate for him for a project, and we had a lot of fun making some very weird, very crazy looking sets. And there's Brian. It took me a while to get to know Brian. Honestly, Brian's one of the few people who actually lasts from this class to my second year of school. So me and him actually got more close in our second year. The first year we kind of had similar friends, but we didn't really work on a lot of projects together. I believe I might have worked on his first year project. I think I might have set decorated for him or done makeup for it. Either way, cool guy. He had a pretty cool mustache. If I had to describe him, I'd say like he had like a cool mustache. And like when I think of him, it's like, oh, nice mustache. And then there's Jan, who honestly, her character development, I'm going to try to tell her story as authentic as possible because her character development in real life was so cool. She started off the first day so quiet and she was so reserved. And by the end of it, I was rooting for her. I'm like, yes, queen, yes. So I'm going to try to tell Jan's story as we move through this. And I think, honestly, it's one of the most fun, most interesting ones because she evolves and levels up. Like, she's unrecognizable by the end of the year. Then there's Mill. Mill is also one of those people who had such cool character development. I was so proud to get to know this guy. He was one of the people who does continue over to my second year of school, and we got really close in our second year. And honestly, he's one of those people I really would like to work with again. He's very talented, and it came out of left field because he was very reserved and quiet until you saw his work, and you're like, this is an artist. This guy is so talented, and I am blown away by what he's capable of. Then there's Davey. Davey was interesting. He was kind of fun to talk to and fun to listen to. Let's just say he likes mushrooms. He likes to have a mushroom salad. He likes mushroom vinaigrettes. He likes to go out to the forest and have a little bit of a mushroom burger. He likes mushrooms. Then there's Xander, who arguably is probably one of the most renowned people I know now. And it blows my mind because he's always been really talented, but now he's like winning so much cool stuff. And I love him to death. He's such a cool guy. Also, he is one of the people who continued over to my second year, and just at the end of the day, he's just very talented. He knew what he wanted to do, and he didn't settle for less, and I think that's cool. Then there's the rock star. This person told me they were legitimately a rock star. I never heard their music, but I saw a few like photos from them on like in concert. So like, yeah, he's like legitimately a rock star supposedly. So that's pretty cool. Really cool guy. He also had some of the coolest style. Like he like legitimately looked awesome every time he came into class. I was like, that guy's so cool. Oh my gosh, I want to be just like him. He's so interesting. Then there's Reg, who I worked really well with. Me and Reg actually lived really close to each other, and we worked together on a lot of projects. I was his set decorator for his thesis, I believe, and he's a really talented guy. He still works in the industry, and I really am glad to still have him as a connection. He's kind of one of those people I know if I reached out to him, he would like help me out with some projects. He just was a really hardworking, good guy, and like I could just know he's gonna kind of stick around in the industry for a long time because he has that kind of like really good work ethic. Then there's Rick, who honestly, I wish I would have got to know him a little better. He kind of had this vibe where I thought, honestly, he seemed like he was going to be kind of like very preppy and very much like well off and kind of like arrogant. And he wasn't. I just kind of got the vibe off of him, and I wish I would have got to know him a little bit better. Honestly, as like a much older person now, I'm like, oh, I probably could have been more like welcoming, and I will take a lot of responsibility. In this time period of my life, I needed to learn some lessons about being more welcoming to people, and I think that's something that I've grown to understand. And doing this little deep dive series of my own life, I'm able to go, oh, I should have been more open to being kind to people and more welcoming to them. I shouldn't have let my own anxieties and fears get in the way of making friends, making connections, because at the end of the day, we were all pretty much like 18, 19, 20. We're all kids still for the most part. And I was too in my head about being like a high school misfit type thing to actually make these connections. So honestly, I would have liked to be better friends with Rick. I definitely think would try better if I went back in time, kind of thing. And then there's Danny was actually a really surprisingly good producer. He had a very interesting sense of humor. I remember him be kind of like, we'd go to some of the set houses and he'd always grab something weird and try to chase people around with it. So like, he had some very quirky type of humor. Nice enough guy. We didn't really work together a lot, but he was cool. And then last but not least, there is July. July, honestly, that's a really long story. July is one of those people who I had a really close friendship with, and then we had a bit of a falling out at the end of the year, and I got really jaded. I got really harsh, and at the time I thought I was justified, and I realize now it was a lot of fear and anxiety and a lot of personal issues that I wasn't dealing with, that I was kind of placing on someone else. And so arguably I do think I mishandled everything with this person. I I've dragged a lot of people down with me. And I do think for that part, I was the villain of that era. And I thought I was justified. And so, honestly, at some point, I would like to be able to fix that friendship because I genuinely do miss this person. And doing this kind of deep dive into my life, I'm realizing, oh, you were a dumb 18-year-old who lashed out at people. You were a dumb 18-year-old who had a lot of insecurities that you put on other people. And they were just existing and you took it as a slight against you. And so I do hope that through this I can kind of digest more of this and hopefully at some point fix some of my past mistakes, hopefully, or at least try to make amends in who I'm becoming so I can be better as I grow, because I would like to fix like some of these friendships and make better choices and make better connections and be a better person overall. So anyway, that is my cast of people that you will be seeing in this deep dive into my life and my journey in film school in my film school diary. Then things got a little weird. Not gonna lie, things got a little weird. This guy comes over. He's also very important to the story. I'm gonna call him July. Again, not his real name, but we're just gonna call him July. And he comes over and he's kind of flirting with Cece. I'd say he was flirting with Cece, but also I could not tell. It was very bizarre. The whole thing was very weird. And she was like, I don't want to flirt with this guy. I'm not into it. We're not vibing. And me and Red are like, if you don't feel comfortable, we don't feel comfortable. So we're like, whatever, done. We're like, we'll probably never see him again. When he's in our class, we'll never have to talk to him again. He's not going to be in our crew, whatever. So we end the day. I have the girls' info. We have her emails, whatever. They have my card. We're good to go. And that essentially sums up my first day of orientation. I go home and I get ready to start the worst 2 months and the best 2 months of my life. Honestly, it was literally some of the hardest work I've ever done and probably ever will do. Again, we're going to shoot 8 short films in the span of 2 months per person. That's no days off. I literally had probably 14 days straight where we didn't have a day off. And the only reason we had a day off is because we did all of our work the day before. Anyway, that was the first entry in my film school diary. This was very much a fun experience for me, and I'm really glad that you guys can join me on this retelling of my tale of going through film school. If you'd like to see more content like this, make sure you follow and like for more content just like this. And I'm excited to share more content with you. If you like other filmmaking content, make sure you watch the rest of our content. Bye!
Film school.